tell you about it.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready to start. Thank everybody for coming tonight to our work session, October 14th, 2024. We have a relatively short agenda tonight, a couple of items to discuss. Our second reading of ordinance 2024-09 to amend fiscal year 24-25 operating budget to authorize purchase agreement for a ladder truck for Easley Fire Department. Is there any discussion or any additional information we want to share from the any questions for the fire chief, anything?
When's it supposed to be delivered? In 3 years or 4 years?
It'll be 4 years on that. 43 months, I think they said.
Wow.
Takes a long time. Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am. The ordinance authorizes up to 5.5% for financing, and we've gotten bids back, and it's the lowest one right now is 3.91%, which is a lot better than we thought we were going to get. We figured we might get in the fours, but it's at 3.91. So if all the paperwork is correct, and we go through all that with Mr. Hughes and our bonding attorney, then we'll it should settle on 3.91%, which is real good
Even better than we expected.
in today's world. Yes.
Anything else on that? Okay, next we'll have the first reading of ordinance 2024-10 to amend section 3022 of chapter 30 of title 3 of the Easley City Code at the recommendation of Councilman Robinson, who is not here tonight, but this is his agenda item. Any discussion?
I'm going to be offering an amendment just to add, just for clarity, a sentence after all votes shall be by hand, that, and shall be recorded, that, quote, this record shall include how each council member voted. I think as it's drafted, there's some room for interpretation if that just means that it is to record the number, you know, a numerical 4-3 vote. So I'm going to be offering an amendment just to clarify that.
Mr. Hughes, do you see any legal issues with that wording?
No, if the motion's made at the time, that's fine.
Mr. Hughes, could get you up here.
Sorry.
I don't see any legal issues with that motion, assuming council approves it. I think it'd probably be good if we nail down the exact language you want at this time, just so we're all on the same page before we go into the business meeting.
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay.
This record shall include how each council member voted.
So, so after the city clerk and treasurer or where are you putting that sentence? I'm just not clear.
At the end?
After city clerk.
Correct, yes.
If the vote on every question shall be by roll call and shall be recorded in the council minutes.
Show of hands.
I'm sorry. Show of hands and shall be recorded in the council minutes by the city clerk and comma and
How each council member voted.
and how each council member. Okay.
I just want to eliminate any ambiguity that could come up, you know, way in the future of what our intent was.
I think that's fine.
Any discussion? No discussion, no questions? Okay. Next will be reading resolution 2024-09 to authorize the city of Easley to assume a claim deductible with the South Carolina Municipal Insurance and Risk Financing Fund. So do you want to have any more remarks on that?
Yeah. Ms. Lawless will come up and explain this, but this is a savings to the city on our insurance rates.
So Ralph gave me some information since he can't be here tonight. He said that we requested the municipal association to review the city's deductible amounts on all policies to determine if it would be any cost savings for us to increase those. Our current deductibles are 0 for general liability, auto liability, and public officials liability. It's $5,000 for law enforcement liability, $1,000 for property and inland marine, and auto physical damage. And so based on our 5-year claim review, 5-year average claim review, we recommend that the city increase its deductibles to $5,000 for each policy. That would result in an estimated premium savings of $24,278 on the general liability, auto liability, law enforcement liability, and the public officials liability. And it would result in $14,770 savings on property, inland marine, and auto physical damage. So that total comes to $39,048. That's a lot of numbers.
Good idea, should have been done a long time ago.
Any questions?
Did you say marine?
It's the equipment. Inland marine can be like any type of heavy equipment, boats, things like that.
Do we have boats?
Well, it's not just boats.
It's just part, David, it's just part of the way the
Insurance
policy
dollars.
reads.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pretty standard.
And it's based on our 5-year look-back average, so it's, you know, whenever we pick 0, that might have been the best thing to do at the time, but right now, looking back, they're recommending if we want to save this, then let's go with this policy.
That's an excellent finding on Ralph's part.
Yeah.
And, kudos to him. I think this is his second or third cost savings that he has discovered for the city in a short period of time. And so, sorry he's not here tonight, but I'll make sure that we congratulate him.
And he did also have a bullet point that we'll continue to review the coverage and deductibles and everything every year to see what savings we can possibly have in the future, so.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions for Emily? Okay, and then we'll have tonight for a council vote of approval at the council meeting, the approval of the ATAX committee's recommendation for the disbursement of the accommodation taxes. And you have a list of that in your packet. So is there any discussion or questions about that?
How is the list and the distribution developed?
You can come back up, and I'll make a stab at it. So we're estimating $100,000 is what we'll be working with, and that's not known until the year progresses. But based on that, the first $25,000 is by law, comes to the general fund, and then the next 5% of the remainder comes to the general fund, and then 30% goes to a tourism-related entity, which is the chamber, and then the remainder at that point is now distributed amongst the applicants, and the ATAX committee looked at all the applicants and came up with these percentages. So, as was pointed out to me, they're not necessarily getting these dollar amounts, they're getting these percentages of what we're going to be getting in.
Okay, so this comes from the accommodations tax committee.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
We receive a quarterly check from the state for the accommodations tax, and when that comes in, it's divvied up between those organizations based on those percentages.
That's usually December.
We'll get the first check in October. Yes, sir.
Does this not need to be a resolution?
Not that I know of, because,
Well, if we are,
Any decision made by council is either by resolution or by ordinance. So if you approve this, you are adopting by resolution. You know, whether or not we actually have a written resolution, you know, we can certainly draft one if the council feels more comfortable that if you approve it, then it's approving it by council vote. So ultimately, you either accept or deny the recommendation from the ATAX committee.
just a,
It's an estimate
okay.
for the year. Yes, sir. What were we last year? Emily, it was like 96.
I think last year was 96, and we had estimated 100, but, so we came in a little under, but it's trending $4,000 to $6,000 increase each year over the last few years, so.
So the percentages were what was decided, and whatever the amount is, that's the percent. So like if it's $98,999, there'll still be this percentage of that. Okay.
That's why they do it as a percentage, because we
Right.
don't know exactly what we're gonna get. So if we do a dollar amount, there's no way to guarantee that they'll get that dollar amount.
They could get more.
Yeah.
But the committee decides on the percentage that those businesses, those entities. Any questions? Okay. Project updates, are there any project updates from the,
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to have Eddie Fortner come up and talk about storm debris removal. Give us an update on how that's programmed.
It's progressing slowly. The Pickens County landfill has put a cap on us for 5 truckloads a day is all that we can deliver each day, Monday through Friday. There is an outside source, SCDOT, and a lot of people don't understand what's happening here because they're saying that the city has not signed the contract. The county signed the contract, and we gave the county maps of all of our city streets. And since the county works on some of our roads, not all of them, but there's still that funding that we just got for Old Stagecoach Road. But since they are helping fund some of the asphalt or repaving, they're classifying that in some sort of way they have their hand on all the roads in the city. So we gave them a map. They have a contractor that is to clear Oconee and Pickens County, the DOT or the state roads initially, because they are hired through the state DOT. So they're doing basically with your Highway 8's, 135's, 123 right now. And they're projected, hopefully by sometime next week, to be in Pickens County. Now, where they'll be in Pickens County, I have no idea. But we're still restricted to the 5 loads per day by the county landfill. But those contractors will come in and we'll go to the residential, and we're gonna have to hit and knock on doors. It's got to be cut in 6-foot lengths or they won't pick it up, and then we'll still be live, they'll skip it if it's not in 6-foot lengths. So if you talk to some of your constituents or what have you, please share that word, and I found most of this out today for sure about how they wanted us to handle it. I was talking to Steve, matter of fact, when I was coming up here, Steve Rames, he's over the solid waste. But he stressed the 6-foot limit. And then he said he would work with us and we'd see what we have on the things that are left, so that we can get a program together. And does anybody else have any? I went into Springdale and Spring Street and Woodfield today, and it still looks like bombs went off in all those. There's still some wires laying around. Combined was back in Springdale today, and I think I saw a Davy Tree truck in there also. So
The DOT truck contractor will not pick up on private roads either, correct?
that is correct. It has to be a city street,
Is that 6 feet or less?
6 feet or less.
Okay.
Yes. But there's a lot that are 6 feet and a whole lot more.
Yeah,
That's
our
out there.
earlier conversation was 6 or 7 feet.
Yeah.
That's 7's too much.
So, yeah, especially with the diameter of some of these trees have been in this city forever. I mean, y'all have seen it. I've never seen, 62 years, I've never seen anything like this come through and hit the entire city. I've seen it in separate quadrants, like where a tornado struck, but I've never seen the entire city in this top shape.
and what I've learned is the hydraulic system in the trucks if you overweight it, you put too much weight in it, then you're tearing up our equipment and we're losing money and time that way. So there's a reason for the,
But the contractors at Hallelujah will be using their trucks. We'll be able to go around. And right now, with some of that larger debris, I've asked or instructed our brush truck drivers to try to get some of the piles that don't have the large diameter and just see what they can pick up and try to get some of the smaller, just try to get some of the smaller stuff first so that we can get it out of the roadway. That's what we're trying to do.
Eddie, there's debris along Pearl Drive, and it's blocking the view when you're coming off of Daniel. Can something be done about that?
I'll take a look at it tomorrow morning because I know they were in Springdale Plantation today, and they should be in that area tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Our guys should, yeah. So they were kind of on that Wednesday garbage route in that area with Walter Street and Springdale, and they were working their way to Pearl.
Okay.
it's gonna be a long time.
It is, it's gonna take a while. Just ask people to please be patient, because when we get that fifth, I looked at the tickets today, and we got the fifth load by probably 12 o'clock. But see, they go back out, and they're picking up, and what they've got sitting on that truck. Overnight tonight, the first trip we took this morning was at 7:34, so I mean, we'd already used, at 7:30 and 8 o'clock, we'd already used 2 of the 5 up.
So there's no plans to extend the 5?
He was defiant, no. I've tried to bargain with him Thursday, Friday, and this morning. And I've always had Ryan on the phone with me. So have I got somebody that can back up what he's told me? And he said 5 is the cap.
Thanks, Eddie. Any more questions for Eddie?
Because you can see,
It's gonna be a long process.
It is.
I've been through these before, and the debris is going to be there, and it can only be collected.
Well, you
Because
see-
everybody's wanting to do the same thing, and I figured that the landfill was gonna put a cap
Yeah.
on it.
well, you see what we staged just over here so that we can keep getting the roads open. So, I mean, then we're gonna have to double handle that, or it's gonna be, and that stuff will be there a while. Until we get the roads cleaned up.
Okay, thank you.
Do we not have a lumber mill that would be willing to take something?
Everybody's lumbered out right now. I mean, I'm not making fun of it, but the landfill where they're grinding, they've got someone that's been picking up a pretty good bit of that mulch that they make out of it. You can't use it around their house. It's just ground one time. You don't want it anywhere close. But it, like in the yards way out from the house, people can, but it don't look real good. But I mean, they're not picking it up like they were. He said that has started piling up. But the brush was not very far behind.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's because he's limited and everything. But the mulch is, it's starting to be a headache for him now.
It's just, it'd be nice to find a way to utilize some of that beautiful wood, because my buddy lost about 60 trees, and, I mean, some of them's this big around.
That's everywhere.
I mean, just, it would be nice if the,
Especially in your neighborhood. Those trees been there 80 years ago.
That was Monty's tree service up there today.
Was that Monty?
If we have the trucks, would it be possible for them to collect? I understand that we're limited to 5 dumps per day, but would it be possible to collect, offload it on some city property until that backlog gets worked down?
We did, like right over here.
yeah.
But if you keep going like that, you've got to be permitted through DHEC if you get to a certain amount. And that's a tough permit to obtain.
And you have to double handle everything, and it just wears out your equipment.
Yep.
Yeah, I worry about varmints taking up residence over there.
Thanks,
Thank
Eddie.
you. Any other department updates?
Yes, ma'am. FEMA will be in town tomorrow for a certain amount of time. Chief Liner can come up and speak to this. They're going to be setting up at the library to take applications for reimbursement, and I'll let you run with it, 'cause that's all I know
Sure,
about
so
it.
they've asked us to do site security, FEMA has. That's the only cooperation as far as we are involved with it, so we're securing the site. But they're there to answer questions strictly based on if you have a claim. So if something happened to your property, house, they will work with people and show them the proper paperwork needed, that kind of stuff. So they're supposed to be here tomorrow morning, and it's 8 in the morning until 7 at night. And that's all the way through Saturday is what they're planning. It's through the Department of Emergency Management in the county, but we're in cooperation with the Pickens County Sheriff's Office as far as securing the location. And then FEMA does what FEMA does, so. Questions with that? All right, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
That's all? Okay. That's what we have for work session, so meeting adjourned. We'll see you at the city council meeting.